The following podcast contains spoilers for The Mandalorian.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature?
This is the way.
This is the Bunzerelli Show.
First of all, Khiim, what's going on? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good, pretty good. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys. And, obviously we launched these shows right after The Mandalorian, but you know how it is. You sleep in, you're a little turkey tired. So we're a day late, but we're ready for action. We're all geared up. And we're getting into Mandalorian Chapter 13, The Jedi. Khiim, here's how I want to approach this show, because I think it's like a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we actually delve into the episode, but the big elephant in the room is Ashoka.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ashoka?
It was spot on. It couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, I think so. As far as first of all, they didn't just like make us wait for her. Mm-mm. She was the first thing we saw.
Yeah, opening scene. She's right there.
Yeah, and it was actually cool. It was like, okay, we're gonna see the big reveal at the end. That's what I was expecting. And just open lightsaber fights, just right in Ahsoka action. I watched it a couple times, and I'm gonna get your feeling on this as far as the lightsaber choreography.
Yeah,
is something that caught my mind.
Yeah,
because there's something with the cartoons and the live action where things are going to be more exaggerated in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Big case in point, Darth Maul made his return for the final season of Clone Wars. And they actually had the actor Ray Park, who physically played Darth Maul and choreographed all the lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
They had him reenact how, they actually tried to motion capture him with a lightsaber. And the end result was to the effect of, yeah, it's Ray Park, it's awesome, but we kind of exaggerate things a little more for cartoons.
Yeah.
So we didn't use the motion capture, but what we did was we used his video performance as a reference. That being said, if you picture the things Ahsoka was doing in Clone Wars and The Last Jedi, I think she was toned down enough to make it. I think she was consistent, but she's not cartoon Ahsoka.
Oh no, not at all. It's definitely is just it's the Ahsoka we want to see.
Yeah,
the Ahsoka we've been waiting to see. The Ahsoka we've been wondering what she's been up to this whole time.
Yeah,
where she's been at. Like everything was awesome. The choreography, the whole assassin approach that we get to see from a Jedi, because we've never seen these assassin Jedis. We've never seen them just in and out camo style taking people out one by one. We've never seen that.
Not on a small scale battle like that.
No, never. She literally was on some guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, it's usually like a duel, or it's the over exaggerated Clone Wars stuff where they're fighting droids and going, but it's just like a small scale. Let me rephrase. A big Jedi in a small scale scene.
On some John Wick.
Yeah.
She was on her John Wick.
Yeah, she was just John Wicking it up. And even a lot of here's the thing about the lightsaber fights, because we've seen them all. We know the thing. There's a difference in the lightsaber styles from different times. So in the Clone Wars, it's like you're seeing these professionally trained Jedi Knights. And then you go to, you got Darth Vader and Obi-Wan kind of at their end of their game. But there's an excuse for that, too, because if you ever watch the Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan rematch that they did in Clone Wars, it's like a precise kind of samurai fight. Yeah. It's like we know each other, so it's like cling, cling.
Yeah.
It's specific
moves.
It's
a chess match.
Yeah, and it's like we're more refined Jedi and stuff. Now you go to Force Awakens, and I liked Force Awakens' lightsaber style too, because they were untrained, but they kind of fought with just raw emotion and stuff. Yeah, and it kind of balanced out. But Ahsoka in this, it's the most recent remnants of that Clone Wars lightsaber fighting. Yeah. Just in live action, somebody just awesome with a lightsaber. Yeah. And I think she was great. And we're going to go as far as the character of her, but Okay, so, like I want to delve into the show, like dive straight in. But we got Ahsoka first to Magistrate on Corius. They open up with the knob significance with the Mandalorian and Yoda, and I'm like, he's stuck in his pocket, and I'm like, why a throwaway scene for the knob?
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't either.
He's just putting that knob in his pocket because the knob has a big significance.
Yeah.
The knob is what made, and it'll come into that later scene, is what the Mandalorian he kind of looked at and he kind of changed his mind. That's kind of like part of the bond where Ahsoka says later, let's connect with him. And that's the symbolism of it. But I didn't really kind of read into it. I'm like, where'd he go with this knob? But Mandalorian wanders into town. Definitely a beaten up town. She confronts the magistrate. And she presents him with the Beskar spear. And I didn't really fall into it. I mean, did you? I didn't think the Mandalorian was buying along because I think he's characterized well enough. We know he's straight.
We know where he stands. Yeah.
He's on this mission, so we kind of know he's pretending to buy into this BS. Like, we know he's not going to go kill Ahsoka.
Yeah,
he's not going to make that flip all of a sudden even for a spear. It's like he's made himself clear he's an honorable.
Mm-hmm. He's by the code.
Yeah, he's by the code. Mm-hmm. He's been sent on this mission, the Ahsoka versus Din Djarin thing. And I watched it a second time. It's like, he throws the flamethrower, but he's really just trying to like get some space and call out to her. Yeah. But it made it clear too, because I forgot, and it has been mentioned. It's been mentioned in the cartoons and everything. Beskar it's Star Wars adamantium. Yeah. it's invincible to lightsaber strikes. Yeah. And they made that clear pretty quick. And then, Ahsoka, we get that moment, he calls her name, and she goes, I hope it's about him. And now we have a name. It's Grogu. Grogu. We got a name for him now. Yeah. So we can all stop calling him Baby Yoda. We got an official name. It's Grogu. Yeah. And as far as Rosario Dawson, because it's like, it's a long way. And also Ahsoka as a character is in a different place right now. Yeah. But you have that Jedi discipline.
But she's still got that gray energy.
Yeah. And she's I played something because I was just trying to fill some time on the Facebook page and be like, oh, I found this like cool mix of Ahsoka stuff, put it together. But that is her thing, is determination is her big thing. And she was I believe she was consistent. It's an older Ahsoka. It's a more battle-worn Ahsoka.
A refined Ahsoka, yeah.
Refined Ahsoka, yeah. And what it does is she's still got the compassion. She's still, she's still that she's reaching out to Grogu. But she also has her experience with Anakin, and she did everything short of name drop Anakin.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like, I've seen a guy that was good, and he got really bad.
Really bad, really quick.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. We all know who you're talking
you've
about.
heard of him.
Yeah, you might have heard of him. But, yeah. Oh, so here's some interesting thoughts if you want to get into some theories. Saying this goes back on your theory, if he's Yoda's son, which is still a possibility. Especially because she's flat out said, I've only seen one of her being like him.
I've only seen one, yeah.
Also, there's the question of who took him from the temple. Yeah. There's one theory flying around, but it caught my eye pretty quick because really his death, as far as bringing people back from the death, and we know we can bring anybody back from the death, but there's a theory flowing out. What if Mace Windu pulled him out of the temple? Because what did Mace Windu do? He flew out of a window. Yeah. I mean, Jedis fly out of windows left and right.
We've seen people take pretty long falls and still survive.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't get chopped in half.
Yeah, no,
there was no lightsaber fight or anything. So there's a theory. But like even with the Mandalorian, you don't find out till the end. And I think that's going to be a twist. I believe we are going to find out who saved Grogu.
Oh yeah, they're not giving us that information just to be like, okay, next season.
Even if you grab Ewan McGregor, I mean, he's already filming Obi-Wan. He'll do it. Yeah, you know what I mean. Or you CGI Yoda in there. You throw Yoda in there. Did Yoda do it? Yeah. Is there a relationship with Yoda? There's some good questions.
I mean, honestly, I think so because she did mention that he was at the academy. She mentioned that Grogu was a Padawan at the academy
and trained by many masters.
Exactly.
So he was like
he was a big deal.
Because what they're making of the parents is Yoda's species is strong in the Force.
Yeah.
Like naturally.
Yeah.
Higher M count. You know, higher physically, more adept to the Force.
Yeah.
So it is a possibility if Yoda's species is so rare that, however, whether it's Yoda's son or they came across him or whatever, that's a special being.
Definitely.
So it's going to be interesting to see the backstory of that, which I'm positive we're going to get. She talked about Yoda, and there's a lot of themes that play through this, but she mentioned Yoda. Yoda's theme played in the background. Okay, they're playing Force Catch, and then we get the knob.
Yeah.
She goes, he has an attachment to you, and she knows this from talking, and we know the Mandalorian. I mean, the Mandalorian changed up his whole deal, risked everything to save him, and that was just part of his character. There was nothing we know about that except he has that bond because they were both foundlings.
I don't know. That's still sketchy to me. I still think that in some way, like, you know, the Jedis have that whole mind trick thing that they do. I honestly think that Baby Yoda mind tricked him because the scene when they meet, the little shield removes over Baby Yoda's carriage and he's got the pistol at him, and then next thing he's just like, you know what, never mind. I think Baby Yoda, Grogu.
It's an adjustment for all of us.
Yeah. It's going to take some time. But I definitely think that Grogu, mind tricked him into just throwing him off that whole mission. Because we know Mando's by the code. There was no reason for him to switch up.
He's by the code, but, what they showed us was his backstory.
Yeah.
And where he kind of, because, I mean, he shot IG-88 right in the head, pretty instantly.
Yeah.
So I don't. Maybe. I mean, it is a possibility.
I thought it was strange that he was just so determined until the very moment when it's time to do what he's got to do, and he's just like, you know what, never mind.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's a weird, hesitant pause, and it could go if they decide to take a turn where Grogu is going to the dark side, because she's kind of hinting at that.
Yeah, she is.
Like the fear and the anger doesn't necessarily mean anything because they said fear and anger with Luke.
Yeah.
So it's not the end game, but it is a possibility because especially Force Awakens happens and Grogu ain't there.
Yeah.
So his story could end one way or another. Did you catch Ahsoka's theme?
I didn't.
Have you seen the Ahsoka versus Vader duel?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so in Rebels, she meets up with Vader.
Actually, yeah.
There's a specific theme, and I only have the theme in my head because I've watched the YouTube clips of that scene over and over again. But there's a part where she's standing face to face with Vader, and you hear the dun, 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 when she's like Ahsoka, and like they make that eye contact.
Yeah,
and but I was so wrapped up in it because I watched that scene, which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. I
watched that scene over and over, and that's the only reason why that theme is fused in my head, because I caught it again on that final season of the Clone Wars. I don't know if that theme was made at that scene, if it ever appeared before then, but there was a part where she sideways like just walks up and struts up on the magistrate, and I caught that theme. And I'm like, cool. Here's the theme I'm glad I didn't hear. They roll Yoda's theme out. They roll out Ahsoka's theme. They did not roll out da 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 da. And I tell you something, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I just associate that with the episodics.
Yeah.
Even if it's a Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't associate it with Jedi. I associate it with episodic Star Wars. And I'm not hating on that, but we're trying to move away from that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's just better just keep that. It's Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's true Star Wars. It's Tatooine, cowboy western Star Wars, but it's not Luke. It's not Palpatine. It's not that bigger scope.
Nope.
And not even a bigger scope, but that is what the prequels, the OT, and that was that.
They built on it, yeah.
Skywalker. We're getting back and we're getting into the corners. We're getting the other characters.
We'll be right back.
Show your home some holiday love. Shop Lowe's now during our Season of Savings event. Get artificial Christmas trees starting at just $49. Also pick up 1 quart poinsettias at only 88 cents each. Lights, ornaments, and decor. Whatever you need, visit us in-store, shop our app from home, and get free shipping on thousands of items, or pick up curbside for contactless service. However you want to shop this year, we have you covered. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Poinsettia's offer in-store only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii and limited to 16 per customer. Valid through 12/2, U.S. only.
So Dave Filoni has been notably absent during this season. He made his cameo, but that's nothing. That's getting an X-wing and say a line. Yeah. That's nothing. We had in our head.
Put a cool costume on.
Yeah, hey, do this scene, and we have it in. We've kind of had in our head that even though he's been storyboarding with Jon Favreau probably and doing these direction and stuff, so there was something like to the effect of the Ghost of Mortis trilogy, where Dave Filoni was like, okay, we're getting deep into this Force stuff. I can't do this Force stuff without talking to George. And he went to George Lucas and said, because George Lucas was kind of out at that point, and it was just Dave Filoni on his own, and George and Dave was like, getting into specifics. And George was like, hey, it's like the tree in Dagobah. It's like it's happening, but it's not happening kind of thing. But I think to this, even like this episode, it's like, okay, we're doing Ahsoka. Dave's got to be there.
Has to be.
Dave is the steward of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I mean, took her through 2 shows, back to Clone Wars. It's like you're not doing Ahsoka without Dave, at least for a service episode. There's a couple ideas where this is going. Well, we'll talk about the franchise. We'll wrap back up where I think the show's going. But because there's been rumors, and you see a billion rumors about these things, but it's kind of making more sense, especially because as shaky as Star Wars has been in the theaters, on TV it's been straight fire.
Solid, yeah.
And I think a lot of it's because of the way the first season of Mandalorian went, and now they're starting to take these risks and leaps. But I think there's a reason to it, because I still believe he left Ahsoka, didn't Jaren? They flew away.
Yeah.
She asked about Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's straight off of Rebels.
Yeah.
Rebels ended with Ezra disappearing with Thrawn. So I'm pretty positive you can't weave. I don't think your plan is to weave all that into the Mandalorian. I think it's a backdoor pilot for a spinoff.
Okay.
There's also rumors that the Boba Fett stuff might be a backdoor pilot for a spinoff.
Okay.
Because there was a Boba Fett movie in development, and it kind of got dropped because the Solo didn't perform so well, because they had a Darth Vader in line, they had an Obi-Wan movie in line, which is becoming a TV show. I think the company's pivoting, and you can make a big conversation about cinema in general is probably going to pivot. But
definitely.
But as far as when you have smaller scale stories like this, like The Mandalorian, you don't have to worry about like, did you make $20 billion on a weekend? Nope. It's just, are people watching it? Yep. And what's the reception? And this thing's just been gold. And I think because they struck gold, and I truly believe, I think Dave Filoni's not only been noticeably absent because of this, I think he's already developing the Ahsoka show.
You think so? That's where he's been? He's been working on that?
I think he's writing it. I think he's storyboarding it. I think he's sketching it, doing the development. I think he's casting Ezra. I think it's going to be like kind of like a live action Rebels spinoff. Okay. Boba Fett, as cool as Boba Fett is, and as cool as his story is, it's just he himself isn't too tied into the Mandalorian. Yeah. Besides the armor, there's nothing else there.
And honestly, at this point with having Mando, I don't really think it's necessary to have a whole nother show.
I do believe they're gonna bring him back. Oh yeah. To get that he's coming for his stuff.
Yeah, he's got to come back. Of course, he's got to come back. But I don't think they're gonna. I would hope that they wouldn't,
Yeah, it's just too broad, and I'm still going back with the same thing. I think, and as far as the show's concerned, I think the direction is the end game for the Mandalorian, like we talked, but also now it's the end game for Grogu. So where do we leave off? She's like, go to this other temple, because Dave Filoni loves the Jedi temples. Oh yeah. There was like 20 temples in Rebels. He just loves doing Jedi temples. Now I'm going to show you something, Khiim, that you haven't seen. Okay, so Sebastian Stan is the Winter Soldier. So here's Sebastian Stan. I want you to look at this first picture and scroll down and look at the second picture. Okay. Those are both Sebastian Stan next to Mark Hamill. Okay? Yeah. They've actually done one where they've actually face swapped him with Mark Hamill. Yeah. And said he looks just like him. Like they put... they did the face thing where they put him on a scene and you can't tell the difference. Yeah. He's saying The fans pointed it out. He said, I want to do it. Mark Hamill said, go ahead and do it, bro. Because the real true endgame is Luke Skywalker is alive at this period of time.
Yeah.
There is a way to get a cool Luke Skywalker that we were kind of robbed of in the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that would be the total end game.
Yeah, it would. That would tie everything up.
Is Luke is the one that hears the call. Because who else is out there? If it's if it's not Ahsoka, who else is coming?
I don't know. She said there was other Jedi out there. Not a lot, but there are some.
Yeah, but I think that's the grand finale.
Yeah,
is Luke. But the point is where you go, because you got to take Grogu out of the. Unless you just assumed he was killed by Kylo Ren. I don't know. It's a weird thing because we don't see him in The Force Awakens. So where does his story end? Because it's weird, but you have this possibility of even if you open up this idea of a young Luke Skywalker, we get that period of time where we get the Jedi Master, like the cool Luke Skywalker we never got.
Exactly.
And and they might not even be thinking about it, but when all of a sudden he appears that show and everybody loses their minds.
Yeah, and then
now Dave Filoni's writing the Luke Skywalker spinoff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of exciting possibilities. I'm not saying this thing was like built to make spinoffs. I think what's happening is because it's so successful, they're seeing the possibilities of live action Star Wars.
It's just another possibility to expand on the universe overall.
Yeah, it's just like tell your story. There's no pressure. Make your good story.
Leave clever back doors so that way when we want to go somewhere else, we can. Because
this Mandalorian thing is going to end at some point.
Yeah,
it can only I would maybe 3, maybe 4 seasons, but eventually that story he can't just be running around with Baby Yoda for like 5 years.
Yeah,
it's got to end. I'm sorry, Grogu. We're still adjusting.
Yeah, and I was even thinking on this episode, I was just like, is he really about to like leave? Like, so what? And I'm looking at the time. There's only like 5 minutes left in the episode. I was like, they better at least explain where he's
where
about
else
to
is he
go.
going? So he's going to that temple. I don't know, because it's like,
before she even told him that, when he just goes and wakes him up and he's like, it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wait, where are you going?
Yeah,
where are you going? I know he's about to go with her, but where are you going? Like. But they did the whole little swap where she's just like, I'm not taking him.
Well, we are 5 episodes in. I did read a story. And we got to figure out what we're going to do next week if we're going to do something, because I heard one thing that they're coming back Christmas.
Okay.
This might be a mid-season break.
Okay.
So if you're 5 shows in, 5 shows left, I think that's enough to bring everything back around full circle.
I think
He's still got his reunion with Boba Fett, his reunion with the other Mandalorians and everything. But awesome show. Not disappointed with Ahsoka at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and Dave Filoni came back, and like we said, Godfather Filoni came back and delivered. So very looking forward to the next episode, whenever it is, and more things in general coming down the road from Star Wars TV. So, Khiim, once again, I want to thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Always glad to be here.
If you have thyroid eye disease and the bags under your eyes are looking more like purses, it might be time to discover another treatment option. To learn more, visit treatmyted.com. That's treatmyted.com.
We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to your education. It's time to make Thomas Nelson your first choice. We believe learning should be personalized to fit your needs. 50 years ago, we opened our doors to provide Peninsula residents access to a high-quality education. Today, Thomas Nelson continues that tradition and offers an education that is personal, affordable, flexible, and local. Make Thomas Nelson your first choice. Success. It's closer than you think. Visit us at tncc.edu.